to sign this declaration. I accord you 3 minutes, sir.
I came here to share our experience with everybody else because Ghana represents what to do and what not to do. We've had our positives and we have our negatives. In our rush to achieve universal access, we made many mistakes, but we're correcting them. Currently, Ghana has about 5,400 megawatts installed capacity. Our current consumption is about 4,400 megawatts, 4,000 domestic consumption at peak, and 400 megawatts we export in the West African power pool. We had hydro, and I'm sure everybody has heard about the famous Akosombo Dam. It was one of the first hydro power plants in Africa, and it provides us with about 1,020 megawatts of power. We lived in a fool's paradise because we thought Akosombo would never would never run out. Unfortunately, because of the expanding economy and the rate of growth of consumption, at a certain point in time, Akosombo was no longer enough, and then we started to have what was a power deficit, and in Ghana they call it Dumso. Dumso in our local language means on and off. It means power outages. And so we started having rolling power outages. And so we decided to go into thermal. And of course, we have a state-owned company that does both hydro and thermal. But government could not leverage enough investment to roll out thermal. And so we had to rely on independent power producers. And so we have independent power producers and a state-owned generating company that does both hydro and thermal. So there's a bit of competition there. Now, we also came out with our renewable power policy, which says that renewables must account for 10% of total generation. Currently, renewables account for about 132 megawatts, and so that is far less than 10%. 10% should be about 500 megawatts and above, and so we're ramping up on solar. Most of our generation is gas-fired. About 80% is gas-fired because we have upstream gas. And so we're using it for gas to power. We supplement with fuel oils. That's about 20%. And so our intention is to increase to 100% gas to power. We have some oil fields that are still being explored, and there's indication that there's more gas there. And so we're sure that in the next couple of years, we should be able to generate all our thermal electricity from gas. If that happens, then it means that we'll be able to increase how much power is available to our people. Ghana implemented the National Electrification Program, and because of that, we've been able to cover almost the whole country. Currently, we have 89% access to electricity. We have just about 10% left, and by the end of the year, we should be at 90%. The bulk of what is left are communities that are isolated and far from the grid, and extending the power to those communities is going to be difficult. And so we're looking for an off-grid solution where we get private partnership to be able to reach those communities. We're establishing a renewable energy fund which will help to speed up availability of solar solutions, both for households, for public buildings, and for remote rural communities. And so we're going to set up that fund, and we're going to raise funding both from domestic sources and from international sources. We hope that when we're able to ramp up the gas, we should be able to provide enough LPG to eliminate use of fuel wood, and be able to have we have a cylinder circulation system that would exchange cylinders for rural communities and rural women.
1 minute remaining, Mr. President.
Yeah, the things not to do, and the World Bank is helping us with that, is one, to have a uniform standard for IPPs when you invite them. And you should have a standard where you sign an agreement to eventually own the plant. We have a plant that we call Ameri. It was a 5-year program. We finished paying for it. Today it belongs to us 100%, and so we have that plan for free. There are some other agreements we did that are going to last 10 years, 15 years, and so for 15 years you have to keep paying capacity charges and all that. And so the World Bank is going to help us to be able to review those agreements and see how we can make them standardized for anybody who wants to come in and produce power. But the final thing is you must get your last mile right and get the governance, especially if it's a state-owned utility, you must get it right. Currently, our state-owned utility is doing 42% technical and commercial losses. I don't see any enterprise in this world that can survive with 42% technical and commercial losses. And so we're being helped by the World Bank to introduce private sector in billing and collection so that we can improve efficiency, but also improve the governance in the state-owned utility, because all they do is procurement. We have items in the stockyard that the utility is not going to need for the next 10 years, but somebody is interested in procuring them anyway because he knows what he gets from it. And so we have an experience that we're willing to share. And so even though we are a major player in terms of electricity access and in the West African power pool, we think that our experience should be shared with other countries so that they don't make the same mistakes that we made. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Mahama, and congratulations on your recent inauguration and your second coming as President of the Republic of Ghana. You're certainly moving at the speed of light, obviously, and your plans are very, very well laid out, and we wish you good success. Emphasizing here for us a renewable energy fund, which is a fantastic idea, getting the last mile right and reducing inefficiencies and losses, as well again as engaging with the private sector. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. We're going to come next to Honorable Mohammed B.S. Jallow, the Vice President, representing His Excellency, Mr. Adama Barrow, President of the Republic of Gambia. Gambia actually possesses humongous, huge resources, particularly in the renewable space. But for the most part, your country depends on imported fossil fuels. To address this challenge and to create economic opportunities, what is it that your country is going to do? What is it that you're committing to here in Dar es Salaam during this Africa Energy Summit? Your take.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Let me take this opportunity to thank Her Excellency Samia Suluhu Hassan and other for hosting us on behalf of His Excellency President Adama Barrow and all the